back to the Sounds of Stadia Podcast, episode number 112 of your weekly Stadia and gaming news show, where we round up all of the chitter-chatter out there in the digital world for your listening or viewing pleasure right here at youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games, or up there in the digital cloud on your podcast preference of choice. Before we dive into the show this week, do us the honour of clicking like down below, subscribe and hit that bell just in case, so you are kept in the loop with all of the things we do here at Helix Cloud Games, like this very podcast, like our topical SideQuest show, like our live streams and our first looks that are all over the channel right now for you to catch up, check out and share with your friends. We'd appreciate it. So other people out there who are fellow Stadia players and gamers alike can find our content and they can listen and watch just like you do every single week, just like the hundreds of people do. Over 500 people, Richie, every week check this content out. And we love you all for it. We love you all for it, of course. I'm joined, Chris, this week by the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello, everyone.
Who, for the second time, that's right.
Yeah.
He didn't have his microphone turned on for the first introduction this week, folks.
Yep, I cocked that up. Luckily, I caught it like a minute into the show and not like an hour into it.
That is true. That is true. As far as the defence case goes, that's one of the better ones I've heard. Is yes, yeah. I got all my intro out, I introduced all the lovely people, and he goes, I'm not recording. It happens. You know what? 112 episodes, touch wood. We've not.
I was technically recording, I just wasn't recording my microphone. I was recording nothing.
I'm sure our podcast viewers would appreciate being able to hear both of our voices for an hour or so worth of conversation.
Yeah,
probably
let's
helps. After all, let's not bring SideQuest up again from last week. But you are here, everybody, of course, for 112 episode. 112, I should say. Get the words the right way around.
Yeah, you're here for 112 episodes. It's going to take a while for us to get through it, but we're going to do it.
Time on our hands. But no, you are all here, folks, for episode 112 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. And we've got a terrific show lined up for you all this week, as we do every week. We've dug around, we've brought all the news together so you can sit back, relax, do the garden, go for a drive, relax, stick the kettle on, do what you do, have a beer, while you engorge on all of your Stadia news. That's right, Richie, I'm going to let people gorge this week on all the Stadia news. Because we've got a great show. We're going to be talking about new exclusives that have just dropped this very week. Games that have just been rated. The community blog post. Ubisoft teasing Far Cry 7 already. Little indie games. And big purchases happening within the gaming industry. But before we do dive into all of that, special shout out to all of our amazing members out there. Over 50 of you who have supported this channel. Myself, Chris, Tom and Richie. For many months now, past, present and future supporters of the channel. We do appreciate you, and we sometimes don't give you the shout outs we deserve, but we love you all dearly and we thank you each and every day for your continued support. Because, Richie, everyone can click join below and support the channel a little bit more if they wish to. They help us out, it helps us grow, it helps us buy better content, improve our cameras, our microphones maybe.
The microphone's fine. All I need to do is make sure Audacity is set to the right input.
True. Because
I don't know why it changed. It just didn't. It wasn't
PC
that default mic.
PC updates, Richie.
Probably.
One of them things that you don't get with cloud gaming. You don't get it with cloud gaming. So, Richie, before we get into the thick of the show, we played PUBG this week. We dove back in. We cracked open a few beers this Friday. Played some PUBG.
I got 0 kills.
For the whole playthrough?
Yeah, I didn't get a kill. I got a handful of assists, but I didn't get a kill.
Oh,
you stole actually a couple of my kills.
Stole or...
Well, it's a team. We were playing as a team. It's teamwork. I got them down. You finished them off.
Teamwork, mate. Someone has to finish it. Someone has to get rid of them. I took away the potential grief that you would have suffered for taking another PUBG player's life.
No, I wanted to do it though.
Oh well, okay. Ruthless, ladies and gentlemen. So we played PUBG, we dove in this Friday, a little bit of a different change around for our usual live streams. We should probably say it's probably going to be the same for this week because Stadia's birthday is on Friday the 19th. So it makes sense, Richie, if we probably stream on the Friday just to celebrate Stadia's birthday this week.
Yep. I expect all the viewers at home to pop a bottle of champagne.
Wow, a bottle of champagne.
I'm not going to. I can't.
They owe you a cake.
You need to.
They owe you a cake.
They do. They owe me a cake for my birthday.
If they genuinely sent you a cake, would you open a bottle of champagne?
You know what? If anyone from Stadia is listening and you commit to sending me the birthday cake that you owe me, and it arrives on my birthday, which is Wednesday, so you've only got a couple of days to pull this off, I will go to the shop and buy a bottle of champagne and have it on our live stream.
Wow. You heard it right here, folks. So we went into PUBG. We ordered a cake for Richie. And a special shout out to everyone who follows us over on Twitter as well, because we did it. We passed the magic 1K mark on Twitter. And we didn't announce it on Twitter because there's always some little arsehole out there who unfollows us and thinks it's funny that, oh, we've passed 1,000. I actually saw we went up to 1,000, we went back down to 999. We went up to 1,001, we dropped back down to 999. And I'm thinking to myself, who out there is going on Twitter, hunting us down and going, unfollow? And I know after hearing me say that and probably say arsehole, a few of you are like, ha ha ha, I'll go do it. You know what? That's fine. You'll miss out on all of our wonderful Stadia updates and our amazing, hilarious posts. So
you'll miss out on us now being probably one of the first in the community to realise that Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself, was talking about Google Stadia.
He was.
That's what you miss out on.
That's the kind of stuff. That video now has got over 2,500 views. So it's the type of content you're here for, folks. But you know all about that because we know you're loyal. We know you love us, even though we give you shit sometimes. But that's part of the budding relationship that we've got growing here at Helix Cloud Games and with the Sounds of Stadia podcast, Richie. So we've got our 1,000 now. We never really pushed it, but it's a nice little milestone. It's quite nice that it reflects the channel quite a lot. It's not too far behind, where sometimes you see massive void gaps in between different social media channels. Speaking of that, our Facebook one's not that popular, but feel free to follow us.
We don't push it.
We too old, and just like the TikTok and the Instagram, they're not really our focus point. But you know what is? Yeah. This very show, Richie, where we come together every week to turn our microphones on and record an amazing episode.
I'm not living this one down.
That's the third one. We're done. Richie, what have you been playing this week, Stadia or otherwise, before we get into the news?
I've had quite a busy week at work, so I actually took a bit of a break from Persona this week. Jumped into a bit of FIFA, and I just cannot get into that game.
FIFA?
The defending, I just can't get in. The defending's shocking. Like, off the ball, my players just let players just go by them. Like I can't control 11 players at once. The AI when you're on your team is just so bad.
Interesting.
And it just doesn't. It just doesn't feel nice to play. I keep going back to it and just can't get into it. But last night I did jump back into Persona and start my push for the platinum again.
Straight back.
I'm so close. I've rolled credits twice in Persona. Like once a couple of years ago and once this year. And I've got so many hours in that game, it'd be a shame not to get it.
Yeah, you should just commit now. That's your white whale at the moment.
I'm still enjoying playing it, not as much as I was. But
I know it's a very slim if Persona came out on Stadia, would you play it all over again?
If Persona 4 came out on Stadia, I probably would play it.
Okay.
Persona 5, I intend to get the platinum and probably never play that game again.
I mean, you've committed more of your life to it than some would even dare to think. So
it's
a big commitment.
I'll be done with
Once you break them shackles, the world is your oyster.
Yeah,
you've got all these pro games to try out.
10 years down the line or something, I might consider jumping into Persona 5 Royale.
Maybe we'll see. You may still be playing it for all we know. You may still be playing it, just chipping away.
It might fall into the category like Ocarina of Time or Pokemon like Fire Red does for me, where every couple of years I will just play through that game.
Yeah, I did that Pokemon Yellow as well.
Although Persona 5 is quite a lot bigger than either of them games, so
just a little. Persona 6 might be out before long. We don't know, but we digress, of course. Anything else?
Yeah. It's unlikely Persona 6 to be out anytime soon because they're releasing Shin Megami Tensei 5. It might be out now actually, but it's like this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you checked out
Persona's
any of the
a spin-off
pro games yet?
No.
He's letting it slip, folks. He's letting it slip.
I
say as I've just finished Far Cry 6. I'm so close to getting the top level. I'm going to say achievement on Far Cry 6. But there's an annoying thing after you finish the campaign. There's this thing called insurgencies where it repopulates the map with like a certain area gets taken back over by the Castillo's forces, and you have to go back and take checkpoints again and stuff. You got to do it 3 times for the achievement.
That seems
But
unnecessary.
there's another caveat. When you take down an insurgency, it doesn't reset for 6 real-world days.
Oh, come on, Ubisoft. That's just a dick move. I know you want to make your games more live service and keep people going back to them, but
so yeah,
that's the sort of thing where I'm just quitting on if I was going for the fans. Like, what, I'm not going to pan this year.
That's the only achievement I've got left, and I've done 2 out of 3. So in 3 days, I don't know why I look at my wrist. I've got no watch on, but in 3 days' time, I can get my final one and get that juicy.
Well, if anyone from Ubisoft's listening, less of that. If you want to make your games more live servicey, add features that make you people want to continue to play the game, not force them to stop.
I get why they're doing it, but yeah, it's something. If there should have been an achievement for take down 1 insurgency, and then if it kept coming back every 6 weeks, that keeps the game alive. However, I don't need it to be tied to an achievement. It should have just been the one.
I agree with that.
1 and out. But yeah, wrapping up on that one. Enjoyed the little bit of co-op I did play of it. We'll get into the news actually, because there is a couple of stories relating to Far Cry. Not only 6 but 7 somehow. 7 already. For better or for worse, we'll talk about that. And I've got back now. I'm fully committed to Guardians of the Galaxy, which again, such a shame it's not on Stadia. It's such a missed opportunity with their relationship with Square Enix. I would have loved to play the chapter things like on my phone, on the PC, on the TV, just jump around. But alas, it's probably going to be one of them we'll get sometime next year. I feel like it's going to be one of those. Like Control, we missed it by like a year or so. I feel like next summer I could see us getting Guardians.
I don't know. With Control came out before Stadia though, so that's
true.
A different scenario.
Mere months, but true, yeah.
Yeah.
We shall see. Right then, that's what we've been playing. I've actually been playing another game, but it's our first story of the week, so we'll dive into that on Stadia. Richie, will you do us the honours of introducing us to the...
No. You were mean to me earlier in the show, so I'm
well,
not going to.
I'll do it then. Have I ever done it?
I don't think so, because you host the show.
Yeah, maybe. This could be a first. Ladies and gentlemen. No, I won't do it like that. Introducing the super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka the news. Enjoyed that. I feel like it's been a long time coming. 112 episodes. Yeah. I was handed the baton. I'll give it back to you next week. One day, Tom will gate crash this like the Kool-Aid man and be like, "Oh yeah, that's my thing."
We should just go back to an earlier episode and then just clip out Tom saying it.
I mean, we could do it for 1 week, but no, if he wants to do it,
he has to come
back.
He
has to come back. That's our one stipulation. Otherwise,
he is still alive. We have seen him recently.
He is. Yeah, we went out for lunch.
He's doing well. Just busy being a dad and a teacher.
Yeah, we should point out that.
And he's planning a wedding.
I mean, if you take all the things of a lot of our audience have children. We know that. I was going to say fortunate. We're not fortunate. We don't have children at this moment in time. Could be.
I'd say I'm fortunate to not have children because I don't want them. So.
But yes, we had a catch up. We went out for some food. Really, really good seeing him in person. He's doing stuff. Yeah, like you said, for wedding, juggling, all the family things, a new baby. Obviously it's still Christmas as well. Like, I feel like I'm extremely busy with work at the moment as well, and I don't have many other responsibilities. So add a couple of things onto that Jenga board, and you suddenly totally understand it. So yes, he'll be back. He'll be back, folks. Don't you worry. Don't forget to follow him on Adaxis LP to see what he is up to in his time.
Send your love to him.
Send him some tasty love that way. Right, speaking of tasty love, Richie, we are here for the news. So is our audience, and we've got some great stories this week. Starting off with story number 1. We got a new game announced.
We did.
By none other than Mark Hamill himself, Luke Skywalker, and the Joker, to many people. In some ways, more famous for the Joker. I love his Joker voice.
I don't think Mark Hamill's more famous for being the Joker.
All right.
He is very famous for being the Joker, but Luke Skywalker is like a different galaxy of fame.
Okay, true. Very true. But he nails them. He'll nails them both in their
own right. God, yeah. Arguably better as the Joker than he is as Luke Skywalker.
That's probably what I was trying to verbalize a little more. Yeah, I'd say his Joker is better than his Luke Skywalker. But that wasn't what he was there for. He was there part of the Thunderful World Games Indie Showcase little announcement, which was a terrific showcase, by the way. Like, the production value. Take note, Koch Media. take note, because that is how you do an indie showcase. Yeah, throwback to that. But yes, back to the story. Wavetale, just announced, available now with Stadia Pro, has dropped on the store this week. And basically, Richie, you explore the open sea and the decaying archipelago of Strandville in Wavetale, a story-driven action-adventure game introducing you to a fed-up fisherman, secretive hermits, and maybe a pirate or two, whilst you traverse the calm waters and surging waves as Sigrid, a young girl who befriends a mysterious shadow that provides her with the power to walk on water. Speed through the waves, swing yourself from housetops with your net, and defeat monstrous enemies to save the citizens of the islands, all with a little help from the shadows down below and a cranky grandmother. And I have a first look up on the channel right now. If you want to check out the opening 40 to 50 minutes, I dove in, pun intended, to Wave Break this week. Although you can't dive in because she walks on water. It's actually break your neck.
Well, in the trailer, she does dive
actually. It's a
water.
weird thing, yeah. You can walk on water and such. But I just want to shout this game. It's terrific. It's so fun. Like, I was pleasantly surprised during my first look. And I think the biggest part which makes it fun is the gameplay and traversal. I likened it in my first look to Insomniac Spider-Man. Not in the way you swing around and stuff, but the traversal is so smooth and clean. The game just is inherently fun, even before you look at the story and the characters as well.
Yeah, that's good. I actually think sometimes it can be underrated how, like, traversing around the game world impacts how well it feels. If a game's a bit clunky to get, even if it's got like smooth action stuff, if it's kind of a bit clunky to get around, the bits, because you spend a lot of time in games moving from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So if that's not fun, then it kind of takes a lot away from the game.
Well, yeah.
If you think about Spider-Man, and both Spider-Man and PS4 and Miles Morales, they're kind of fairly by the numbers action games. That set in the Spider-Man universe, but the traversal is so on point. Just swing around New York City is just a blast.
Yeah, certainly. Those Spider-Man games is one of them where you get the platinum trophy, and you kind of still usually, like, you'll close the game down, you're done with it. You might even uninstall it depending on where you sit with it. But
yeah,
Spider-Man's one of them where you've done everything, you've ticked every box, and yet you're still kind of having fun, just swinging around and like beating up the odd villains. But other than that, it's just the traversal is so good. So Wavetale, like, jumping in, like, to set the scene for those who've not seen the first look or have not played it yet, is, you're introduced to this young girl. She lives in a very, very small community with her grandparents, in and amongst this, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but something bad has happened where there's this kind of, like, black fog that's, the whole community that they live in has kind of been broken up into islands, and the tides have risen, possibly global warming. I don't know, I'm not that far into the story yet. But something's happened, there's an eerie tone going on. And as it said in the description there, she meets this kind of shadow creature in the water, and it gives her the ability to run on water. But back to the traversal, what makes it so good is you're not really running, you're more like skating and gliding. And
it looks smooth and quick.
So you've got like different not power-ups, like move sets essentially, where you can power up a launch, you can launch yourself out of the waves into the air. So then there is a bit of that Spider-Man kind of, like the free falling. There's a little bit of that, and she does have a fishing net which has kind of like mystical abilities to kind of latch on to grapple points and stuff. So instead of just like going up and down, you do have the ability to kind of launch yourself forward. There's almost like grind rails scattered throughout the world where the buildings have been submerged, and the grind rails add to a different element of traversal. So you're not always on the water, but even when you're on land, you can still actually get around really, really quick. And the characters are like really, really endearing so far. It's something weird about having like grandparents in a game. Obviously, we've all got grandparents, and if you've got those like those soft, warm relationships with them, just a granny shouting at you, telling you off, it brings back like memories of that. So story's interesting. I won't get into like any spoiler territory, but there's a couple of quick twists that happen in the first hour. I would say I've played about 2 or so hours now. I've heard the game's not that long. But
I think it's a sign of a good game when you decide to do a first look on it and then you keep playing after you stop rolling.
Certainly does. There is a cosmetic store. I posted on Twitter, Richie. I'm currently donning the Fire Flame shirt that everyone wore in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
You had that shirt, right?
I'm pretty sure I had that shirt. Yeah,
He did. I remember.
Probably,
I remember it.
yeah.
I don't want to say fondly.
Good shirt. You know what? If I saw that in like a shop now for relatively cheap, I'd be almost tempted to buy it just for the lols.
Just for the lols.
Wear it on stream.
On stream, we'd love to see it. But yeah, I just really enjoyed the game. It was a pleasant surprise, but there was something about it that made me play it. Now, we've got pro games in the past when you kind of look at it and go, it just looks like a little indie game. It's not ready for me. But there's something about this. There's a little bit of magic there. And if you look on Twitter, everyone else who seems to play it seems to have the same feeling. So, of course, this is from Thunderful publishers, from Zoink Games. Now, we should point out as well, Stadia did have a deal in place with these guys to bring a game exclusive to Stadia. Then they closed Stadia Games Entertainment, so we don't know what that looked like. But presumably, Richie, this is said game.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Because it's exclusive to Stadia right now. It's coming to PC and console in 2022. So whether that means the back end of 2022 to like November, maybe just a year's exclusivity. But I really, really hope the journalists pick up on this one. Because from what I've played so far, it deserves to be reviewed by the likes of like IGN and Kotaku. And just because it's on Stadia, surely a journalist's integrity should be about the game, not the platform.
Yeah.
But I guess
when you're reviewing a game, if it's an exclusive game, I think you can bring the platform into it, but it should just be about the performance of the platform, and not any of the political crap alongside. So if a game like this, you review the game, it's only on Stadia. However, Stadia, it works flawless on Stadia, so that's not a detriment to the experience. That should be, for me, the way they approach this.
Yeah, I really do. Because again, I've already seen the articles which say, it's stranded on Stadia and exclusive.
It's not.
It's not. It's actually more accessible than any of the others, arguably.
Yeah, in reality, no game is stranded on Stadia, even if it's exclusive, because if you have a Gmail account, you can access it.
Yeah, and it's free as part of Pro. So
there are
the barriers to playing this awesome game.
So if you don't have Stadia, and let's say you have a DualShock 4, for example, sat on your desk like I do, plug that into your phone or your laptop or whatever, and then you can play this game.
Just like that.
There you
go. I will be playing a little bit more of it, definitely. I won't actually complete it, to be fair. I think from what I've seen, it's not too long of a game. But I'm
going to have to jump in. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, because it's definitely in your... Without saying what it's also reminiscent of, because of the art style, I'm not going to say it out loud. But yeah,
we're not going to say the Z word.
I'm not going to say the Z word, but yes, I've already encountered one of the big bosses. The little enemies are quite fun to fight as well. I'm hoping the fighting mechanics get a little bit more in depth, because at the moment I've got like a light attack, and that's it. Yeah. And I feel like there's some more that can be done for like heavy attacks or parry maybe. As the enemies get a bit, as games do, as they evolve and they throw harder enemies at you, I'm hoping my attacks change rather than just bashing one button. But I guess I'll see.
You know what I think I might do? I'll wait till you finish this so you can tell me how long it is, and I'll make decide when I'm going to play it. Because this might be, if it's fairly like, I don't know, like an 8-hour experience or something, this might be a nice like palate cleanser when I finally roll credits on Persona.
It could be. But as we said, it is part of your Pro subscription for the month of November, so a nice little extra stealth game added halfway through the month, which we know Stadia like to do. We do appreciate it. It is available to buy for $29.99 US, or I think it's £24.99 Great British. But more importantly, free to claim on Pro, and hopefully it gets all the plaudits it deserves, because it's been a decent little game so far, and it's nice to see that we've got it straight to Pro. But let's move on to story number 2, because as part of the Thunderful games, we did get another announcement. Should caveat this with not confirmed for Stadia. However, we do have, if I'm right in thinking, all of the other Steamworld games, Richie. So story number 2.
We do.
Steamworld Headhunter was announced by Mark Hamill also, coming from Thunderful. And it is essentially a 3D follow-up to the Steamworld Dig, Steamworld Heist games that we already have on the platform. And to read from the Eurogamer article, it is a stylized and colourful third-person co-op action-adventure with a head-popping twist. So read into that what you will. The trailer essentially shows a Wild West shootout between two steampunk robotic I don't know, outlaws, I guess. But that's all we know about the game so far. They've been quite secretive about what exactly is going on with this robot duel and everything that's happened. But of course, yes, Steamworld games. We've got one. We've got 1, 2, Heist, and I feel like there's another.
We've got Dig 1 and 2, Heist and Quest.
Quest, the one I forget. And have they all been pro? 2 was definitely pro. Heist was definitely pro.
I'm not sure actually. I'd have to double check.
Either way, the reason we wanted to cover this in the news is because essentially, it seems like it would be a no-brainer to come to the platform.
Yeah.
Thunderful have that relationship. We've just literally spent 10 minutes talking about Wavetale, their exclusive game on Stadia. So why would the next game in their franchise for Steamworld not come to the platform? Who knows? But where do you sit with the Steamworld franchise, Richie? I know that they vary enough. I think each game gets different groups of people brought in.
Yeah, I kind of like them. The only one I've really played in any real depth was Quest, which is more of an RPG, where like Dig's more of like a Metroidvania. So this is one of the things I appreciate about what they're doing is right from the start, they've created this like universe, and we know what we're going to do. We're going to make different games and tell different stories within it. So I've got a bit of time for Steamworld. Metroidvania stuff isn't usually the stuff that kind of really draws my attention, but with this being this might be the first game actually that is in 3D as well.
Yeah, it is. Which I'm trying to think, what is it going to look like? Abe's like Oddworld, like that kind of like, is it 2D 3D, or are they fully committing to 3D where we get like an action platformer akin to
fully committing to 3D? I know all the games so far have been received quite well. I'm at the moment just clicking through the Steam store to see what the reviews are, and they're almost always very positive or overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, Steamworld Dig 2.
So it's a beloved franchise. Yeah,
very highly rated. I know that. I know a lot of people who it's their favorite. It's almost like create your own Metroidvania with the way the tunnel system works. I've played a lot of Steamworld Dig 2 and 1 actually. I played a little bit of 1, but I always kind of like get burnt out on them a little bit, because when you're digging holes and you're collecting loot, it's that you either love the grind of that, or I think you have your fill, and then you go, oh, I'm satiated by it now, I'll move on to something different. Because again, we've said many times, I'm definitely more of a story driven kind of gamer. Don't really have a great deal of time for just random multiplayer. Same with like the loot grind now. Once I've had that fill of that gameplay loop, I'm like, okay, I enjoyed it, I appreciate it for what it is, but I don't want to commit my life to doing this. So whereas many hours can be spent. So
I'm the same. Like, give me a good story any day.
Yeah. So in terms of this one, then third person does say co-op as well with a head. I'm curious what the head popping twist is. Otherwise, this is just a joke, because in the trailer the guy's head pops off. Like, is it going to be you play as the main character and then there's a mini game with the crawling spider head? Maybe.
I don't know. There'll be something.
There'll be something.
I imagine there was some crazy mechanic revolving it.
Yeah, they do have a nice little bit of humour usually in the games as well. So they did show off a couple of other things as part of the Thunderful World trailers, but nothing specific to Stadia. Once again, a logo gate strikes again, I guess. Except for we did get Wavetale, and we should point out Wavetale did open the presentation as well. So when all eyes were on the presentation, it wasn't at the end. It wasn't sandwiched in the middle. It was front and center. The first thing the Joker announced. But yes, keep your eyes peeled.
It's a good place for a brand new game that looks awesome, to be honest. It just starts off your presentation quite well.
It does indeed. Sets the tone, as some would say. But yeah, hopefully we'll hear more about Steamworld Headhunter as Thunderful roll out more in the coming weeks and months as they reveal more details, because I'm excited for it. And I think if I was to place my bets, I'd say it should be a safe one for coming to the platform.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Safe one. It's more like that AA standard as well, where I think Google can throw a bit more maybe money, or they have a better relationship, because I feel like the higher up you go with the AAA ladder, the more the negotiation power falls into the publishers and developers, rather than with the indie games and the AA games.
The more units they need to shift in order to make it worth the while.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it.
Completely. So then, moving on to more game conversation this week. Story number 3, we've got some games that have been rated this week for Stadia. First up, Wreckfest. has been announced. As on the, I think it was ESRB picked it up on the website for a rating. The Destruction Derby game. Break the rules and take full contact racing to the limit with Wreckfest. Expect epic crashes, neck-to-neck fights over the finish line, and brand new ways for metal to bend. There are the once-in-a-lifetime moments that can only be achieved in Wreckfest, which is, with its true-to-life physics simulation, crafted by the legendary developer Bugbear, who also brought you Flat Out 1 and 2. Never heard of them. Sorry, Bugbear. Ben Rubber, Shred Metal, and the ultimate driving playground, Richie. Wreckfest looks like your battle arena destruction derby style game with an assortment of vehicles, upgrades, customizations. I don't know if you have weapons or not, other than like bumpers and stuff, but looks like it could be a laugh.
Yep. Initially launched in 2018, so I think this is a good chance this could be a pro game.
Straight in with the pro game.
Yeah, we've had a lot of racing games go pro, and this would be perfect actually. I think this one would be an absolute blast on a Thursday night stream.
Yeah. Now, if we think about the other racing titles we've played with the community, you've got like your Dirt 5 and your grid game stuff, where we actually have the most fun probably crashing into each other and using each other as a buffer as we go around corners, whereas it looks like
it's the shenanigans.
It's definitely the shenanigans and the unsafe driving, but it looks like Wreckfest really just doubles down on that commitment where you are supposed to be crashing, you are supposed to be wiping each other out, and I'd be very intrigued how we all cope in an actual showdown car v car.
There appears to be like a driving lawnmower mode as well.
Driving lawnmower.
Just flicking through some of the screenshots on Steam. There's a bunch of guys like in like the following racing attire, like on like the driving, like the riding motors that you see in America. Like and some of them. So that could be funny.
Yeah, it could be really fun. It does say in the description as well, it's a jam-packed with upgrade customized options, whether you're prepared for your next demolition derby with reinforced bumpers, roll cages, side protectors and more, or setting your car up for a banger race with engine performance, parts like air filters, camshafts, fuel systems. Wreckfest is shaping up to be the best combative. Why can't I say that word? Combative. Doesn't sound right. Combative?
It's one of them. It's one of them. You've said it too many times in too many different ways now. Just mess it up. Yeah.
In the best fighting motorsport game out there. Just change the word out. It's the best thing for it. If you can't read a word, swap it for something else. So yes, Wreckfest rated out of nowhere. I kind of guess. Wasn't expecting it. Like you said, it's one of those older titles that I won't buy myself. There's no way I would put my own money down for this. But will I hang off till it comes to pro? Yep. Definitely seems like it's going to be one of them.
Yes, it feels like ripe for a pro game as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not brand new, so the price is not going to be ridiculously high. Racing games tend to do well on Stadia for pro.
Yeah, very true. I'd wager it comes in at like $19.99 maybe, but then also it's on pro. We'll see. Maybe a December one. So it's been rated alongside. It's what?
It's currently $26.74 on Steam.
Yeah.
So probably 25 to 30 quid mark, I reckon.
Give or take. So, racing, smashing, crashing fans out there, look forward to that one. Next up, we have speaking of subscriptions, we've got another game most likely to join the Ubisoft Plus subscription, because Assassin's Creed Liberation has also been rated for Stadia. Now, Assassin's Creed Liberation was initially the expansion for Assassin's Creed 3, which is still yet to come to the platform, we should say. So my guess is we'll probably see the two of them drop at the same time. And Liberation was the PlayStation Vita game that accompanied Assassin's Creed 3. So whilst we were messing around in the pre-American Revolution in Assassin's Creed 3, fighting the Templars, Haytham, Kenway and such, this one is the first game to actually have, Richie, a female protagonist as well. So, to read from the description, the year is 1765. As the events leading up to the American Revolution heat up in the north, Spanish forces plan to take control of Louisiana in the south. But they've yet to reckon with Aveline, a deadly assassin who will use every weapon and her ability in her arsenal on her quest for freedom, whether eliminating her enemies with multiple assassination techniques or luring them into deadly traps using her tools. Aveline strikes mortal fear into the hearts of those who stand in her way. I won't read the whole thing, but essentially, yeah, it's a very well received Assassin's Creed game. It was for a time locked to the Vita, then they brought out the HD Liberation version for, I think it was actually PlayStation 3 eventually got it. It moved over. And then by sequence, we got the remastered Assassin's Creed 3 on PS4 a few years back, which in turn actually included in the remastered version Liberation included. So I actually own this on PlayStation. I've just never got round to playing it. And just another one, no doubt, for Ubisoft Plus. It's another Assassin's Creed game on Stadia, and it just goes to show.
Ubisoft slowly working their way back through the Assassin's Creed franchise, bringing them all. By the end of next year, we'll be talking about Assassin's Creed 1 coming to Stadia.
I think Assassin's Creed 1, they're holding out for
a remake,
a full remake, because that game is, I feel like it needs a little bit more TLC, because we all know AC1 kind of set the bar, but then 2 elevate to like, oh, this is what this game can be.
AC2 defined what an Assassin's Creed of that era was. AC1 was like the first foray, so there was a lot of stuff. There was good stuff, a lot of good stuff in there. I really enjoyed playing through AC1, but it's kind of AC2 where they really dialed up like, this is what an Assassin's Creed game's going to be going forward. And then they didn't change until Origins.
Yeah, we got obviously the Ezio collection as well. So part of me thinks Ubisoft want obviously everything on Ubisoft Connect eventually. It seems odd that their initial game number 1 is missing. Yeah. Like, you can't play that on like current gen. So yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. They maybe want to see how Sands of Time does sale wise, and then because part of me thinks they'd still have that break glass to return to Ezio. If the Assassin's Creed, if Valhalla hadn't just done blockbuster numbers, there will be that moment in time where Ubisoft go, you know what, bring it out, let's go back, and we'll just either reintroduce Ezio with the open world, or we'll do. I don't think they're done with Italy. I think there's too much history and culture in Assassins and Templar shit left.
Yeah, to talk about. I agree. They're not. I think they might be done with Ezio, but I don't think they're done with Italy. But I don't think they probably intend to go back to Italy anytime soon. Because while there's so much history around Italy, like the Roman Empire, how it expanded for thousands of years, hundreds of years, whatever, there's also that sort of history in other parts of the world that they haven't even touched on yet.
True. Yeah.
I mean, they've been to Britain twice.
That's true, different, but there is a lot of history in Britain as well. Like the gap between Valhalla and Syndicate is a lot has changed.
Yeah, it's quite. It might literally be 1,000 years between them, if not more.
Yeah, most likely. But this one, of course, Assassin's Creed Liberation, it does bring us to the streets of New Orleans, which is an interesting kind of little pocket world within Assassin's Creed. They do usually go for these big sprawling areas now, and that's what they're best known for. So if you are in the market for like a little Assassin's Creed of old fix, where it is a more condensed story, you've got your traditional stealth takedowns and your missions and you track people and listen in, eavesdrop, that kind of thing. This is definitely one for you, and it's on my radar. I just need time to get back to it. I do actually pride myself on having played all these Assassin's Creed games, and there's still Liberation and Rogue are my two little white whales left out there in the Atlantic.
Maybe when it drops in Stadia, get Ubisoft Plus and play them.
I could. Well, again, I own this one on PlayStation as well already, so I could play it there. But we shall see. But usually when a game is rated, we don't have to wait too long until it's announced. Yeah. And like you said, Richie, it just shows that Ubisoft is still just going back and just tick, getting everything on.
Yeah, as you said, 3's already been rated and we're still waiting for it. So maybe we'll get both of these before Christmas.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Could be next week.
I'd say so. It could be.
Happy birthday. He's some Assassin's Creed.
It could be indeed. Right then, let's move on from some rated games into some features we know that are definitely happening, because we did get a community blog this week, Richie. We had to wait an extra week since they've pivoted to a fortnightly drop for news, and we got some stories that came out of it. We got Wavetale came out of it. We got an Elder Scrolls update, and we also got an update for the Explore feed, where apparently now, Richie, if you go into the Explore feed, or the Explore tab, I should say, not the feed.
Yeah.
I guess it's...
No, they call it feed.
Yeah, they call it the feed. I feel like the Explore tab is what we...
They also call it tab in the same... They call it both.
Okay, so either. You obviously the Explore tab feed has had some work done on it in recent months. The ability to share screenshots, captures is there. Yeah, you can of course now click on it and you can block people, you can report people, you can follow people. So you kind of build up a social feed of amazing things happening on Stadia in and around your friend group. Now what they've introduced is a way that you can actually play with others. So if you see someone playing a game that you like the look of and they're sharing a screenshot or a video capture, you can now jump into the game directly, I believe, or you can just find the game in the store. So Richie, you've been having to click around and we can't seem to find exactly what, because the community blog doesn't actually explain what you need to do. It just says, and I quote from the blog, "We love making introductions and now we're introducing our new Explore feature designed to do just that. The Explore tab lets you find other Stadia players who play your favourite games and find new games from people you follow. You can also view exciting captures and thrilling stage heads, which we knew already." But that's all they say, so it doesn't actually say what you need to do. So you've had to click around in it.
Yes, I have.
And we can follow people.
As far as I can see, when you're in this, I'm only looking at the browser version.
I'll have a look
I'm
at
actually
the
looking
phone
at
version live now.
Right now, basically, what I figured out you can do is there's new few little things next to the capture. You can see like the triple dot icons now there, which means you can give the option to unfollow the game, follow the player, or report a post. If you click onto the post and then click the dots again, it comes up with an option allowing you to play this game on Stadia, which appears to just open you into the game. I don't know whether it'll open you into their instance of the game like Click to Play does, but I'd imagine so, if the game supports it.
Yeah, the mobile version only has the same thing. So like there's some screenshots here from FIFA 21. It says unfollow the game, follow this player, report the post. 100 days. Let's see, someone's playing Crater. Unfollow, follow the post. If you tap the little eye, why are you seeing this? Someone's playing Crater. Assassin's Creed Origins. Yeah, so I don't know if it's just mid-rollout or not, but the blog doesn't go a great way to explaining exactly what you're supposed to do.
Well, it's nice to sign and put some attention into the Explore tab, because we've had it since launch and it's basically done nothing. And as it stands, it's still largely just a feed of miscellaneous screenshots and videos from miscellaneous people that you can't really interact with in any significant way.
Yeah, I've seen there's been a lot of conversation on Reddit and such that says like we'd like the ability to leave comments or like upvote,
comments,
downvote,
likes,
share.
Yeah, it's
other people.
However, it needs more work. It's very, very bare bones at the moment.
Yeah, it needs to be more social media-ized in a way.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like having an Instagram account, because it's more like media focus, but then not having any way for anyone to interact with your content.
Yeah, true. It's kind of like you post it out there in the world and just that's it. Like, there's no feedback or interaction yet, which kind of then makes it a bit pointless, right? Yeah. Why share it with someone if there's no? It's not a two-way street.
I mean, the people are sharing stuff, so some people seem to like it, but for me, it's like I have dropped a few things on the Explore feed, but then because there's no interaction with anything you post, it's like what's the point? I could just drop that same screenshot into my Discord or on my Twitter or on Facebook, and then I'd be able to interact with people. So what I've just seen is someone's like, I think it looks like they've won the Premier League with Arsenal, which is ridiculous. Sorry, Arsenal fans. I'm a Newcastle fan, so that's also ridiculous. But it'd be like, so it's like they're sharing this like success they've had in the game, but then no one got, oh, awesome, mate, well done.
Yeah,
there's none of that.
Yeah, just like nice little bit of feedback.
Yeah,
nice. But again, we know they're working on it, so we'll give them time.
Yeah.
Community blog again for a fortnight's break, little bit quiet. If I'm honest, it's my take on it. I thought I was going to expect like a big juicy blog, but I don't know whether that's just me being told it was going to be every fortnight. I think my expectations went, so we're going to get more content, and we got an ESO update. And
there's an indie sale.
Yeah, there's an indie sale, but what are you going to do with that?
There's actually a lot of sales on Stadia all the time. So
it's hard to get excited about a sale when we know there's one. We should point out as well, actually, the indie game sale does feature quite a lot of titles. I realised scrolling through, I have like almost it feels like a third or maybe even half of them just claim through Pro.
Yeah.
So now, again, it's that saturation point. There's like Merrick's Market and some other titles that are available on there, Tohu and stuff.
Yeah, I think I've got probably about half of them.
Yeah, but I did notice as well, the sale does end on the 18th.
Really? I just clicked on Dark when it said the 19th.
All right.
But it's like
I only checked like one game. So I'm curious.
Chris sales $6.59 on the 19th.
Okay. So do you think they're going to switch it up for a birthday sale? Maybe another sale to follow this sale. Maybe we'll find out. Again, we spoke about that last week in the episode of SideQuest. If you've not checked it out just yet, we broke down our Stadia predictions and hopes for their upcoming birthday and whether or not they even need to celebrate it. Because we definitely pointed out within the episode that actually the other big players, PlayStation 5 just hit its whole 1 year anniversary, and other than talking about how good it's been, they haven't done anything really for it. There's not a birthday sale, there wasn't a big announcement. So are we in a little bit of a silo expecting Stadia to do something? Because they don't need to. I think
we do address that as an issue actually in the episode. So go watch that episode.
Yeah, rather than us talk about it right here. That's why it's a whole separate topical side quest. Right, moving on to another story of the week. Rainbow Six Extraction, Richie. It was delayed, it was pushed back, but now they've came out and announced that actually it's taking a bit of a turn. So we know it's been confirmed for January 2022 release. The official reveal probably for a locked-in date will be imminent. Yeah. However, they came out and they've announced a few different changes. There is going to be now a buddy pass included with the edition, which allows you to invite 2 friends on any platform to join your squad, even if they don't own the game, which I think is terrific.
Yeah, and that buddy pass lasts for 14 days.
It's not. Yeah, it's only just there you go, own the game full outright.
Which 14 days is. That's very generous, to be honest. Like, if it was a 24-hour buddy pass, I'll go, or 48 hours, so you get a full weekend. Like, that'd be quite generous in itself. Yeah. But 14 days, well done, Ubisoft.
Yeah. Again, I think I'm curious to know where this kind of this twist's taken from. They have announced as well a few variations to the deluxe editions and the deluxe packs that are coming out. There's a version that comes with Rainbow Six Siege included with it, and you get to play as the operators across both games. So I'm getting the feeling that Extraction is almost like just a bumper DLC to Rainbow Six Siege, almost like an entire New Year's content.
I've got a feeling it might have started off as DLC for Siege, and then they go, okay, there's a bit more to this than we can just do in Siege, and let's make it into its own game. It's a bit of a smaller title.
Yeah, and the thing that makes me think that even more so is the newer packs for Extraction. They've actually took a massive price cut, so you can pick up Extraction in the UK now for £33.99 for the standard edition, which, considering it was it's still on the Stadia Store, $59.99 I should say. Yeah. That's a massive price cut for a game that's not even out yet. It's not like it's been on the market several months and then they're knocking the price down. This is pre-launch, so.
I've got a feeling that as they've developed this game, what they've realised this needs a cheaper entry price point, but then they'll probably support it with season passes and stuff, and that's where they'll make the money rather than. And sometimes, like, the difference between a £34 game and £60 game is probably a lot of people giving it a chance.
Yeah, indeed. I'm the same, because at £60 when I was starting to look at Extraction, once it got delayed, you do put like your thinking cap on and start looking at it and thinking. Similar to how I am right now with Battlefield, thinking like, well, why would I pay £60-70 for just multiplayer when there's so many free multiplayer options out there that are equal, if not better?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this slightly off camera, and my view is generally like, I think Battlefield is probably worth £60 if you are a massive multiplayer fan and you're going to get hundreds and hundreds of hours out of that game. Yeah. I'm not, so it's not worth it. Yeah, because I'm not it won't have the legs for me. I'll probably play something like Battlefield for a weekend, then occasionally on stream. Yeah,
no, I think we can echo that as well. So Extraction Standard Edition gives you core features detailed in the initial announcement, the operation progression system, 4 distinct difficulty settings, which is another thing to include, difficulty settings, 12 all new maps across 4 regions, said to be roughly 3 times the size of the maps of Rainbow Six Siege. So that's interesting. That's a lot. It's a much larger, wider space. Over 60 weapons, legacy Rainbow Siege tech, and 15 React tech plus post-launch support incorporating a weekly endgame challenge modes. Stepping up to the deluxe edition, that's going to grant you bonus packs and pre-order content such as the Orbital Delay Cosmetics bundle, and just like most deluxe, you're just going to get little bells and whistles on top from that. But as an added bonus, extraction purchases that play Rainbow Six Siege will also receive the United Front bundle featuring 4 exclusive gear sets between both games. So essentially, if you own it on Stadia and Siege on Stadia as well as Extraction, you're going to get some cross-pollination for cosmetics as well, which is great to see.
I can see this being quite a popular game, to be honest, especially if they keep supporting it with new maps and new operatives and stuff, or new challenges to do within certain maps.
Yeah, I could say that as well. It is interesting now. Like the closer we get in reading through that description, there's so much crossover. It is weird that it's not just a Siege expansion, but
yeah, I think it just seems like it's probably a bit too big to be just an expansion to Siege. And I think it's got a very different gameplay style as well. That might be why they've made that decision.
Because we've had the little teasers for like Halloween and stuff where you play as aliens, you play as zombies, monsters, that kind of thing. But yeah, who knows? We'll see. I'd imagine we only have to wait another month or so before like early previews and such start to roll out. So keep your eyes on that one. Of course, it's included with Ubisoft Plus subscription. So if you've got that, you're just getting even more and more value because you always get the top tier bundles. Right. Pivoting away then, Richie, from games for a little while, the next story of the week comes from The Verge. Unity, which makes the obviously ever popular game engine Unity, that you all probably play many games, features of, have used their intention to purchase Weta Digital, who are the famed creators of CGI on titles like Lord of the Rings, of course, famous for Gollum Smeagol's character, Planet of the Apes. They've done stuff with Game of Thrones, Attilia Battle Angel, basically a lot of Peter Jackson projects. They have been approached to be acquired for $1.6 billion of cash and stocks to be part of Unity's team instead, which I think I wanted to bring up in the podcast because they do terrific work, but it's just such an interesting merger of games and movies and TV now almost becoming synonymous with each other as TV shows lean into more heavily graphically funded. Like I mean, Game of Thrones raised the bar for that sort of thing of like TV quality, and with like Netflix movies now not having the polish of like cinema releases, there's this like weird middle ground now where actually gaming, Unreal Engine and Unity Engine, they make a lot of the content in the movies and TV shows we watch today because they're such open source tools to use. And out of nowhere, Unity want to buy Weta Digital for $1.6 billion. So I just wanted to hear your takes on it, Richie, and what impact you think it might have on games and movies going forward, if any.
I've got a feeling that it's not going to have any impact that you'll notice on the surface as a gamer or as a moviegoer. But I think for Unity, it gives them access to all Weta's tech. It means they're probably going to start moving more into the movie space, which is something, as you mentioned, game engines have started getting used a lot more frequently. As engines and technology improves in the gaming space, Hollywood's paid attention to that, and well, your CGI is better than ours, so we'll use your sort of stuff situation.
I mean, yeah, it is.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any over. I mean, it's probably pretty nice for Peter Jackson.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
just earned a lot of money.
I mean, he could have retired on Lord of the Rings alone, but it's an interesting take because we do know it's if anything, it's more of a chessboard move against Epic, because Epic, who do the Unreal Engine, they're very heavily involved now. They do things like the way obviously if anyone's watched Disney Plus, if you go check out the Mandalorian behind the scenes show, a lot of that show now is made on essentially a giant background LED OLED TV screens. And whatever planet they're on, whatever room they're in, there's just a guy off to the side who has a laptop who just basically drops assets in. So here we are, we're on Tatooine, boom, and it's just desert for miles to see. And he can add ships in and boxes and crates, and it's like he's just in a video game engine dropping assets in like you would in an Age of Empires world builder. And then the characters and the actors have like responded to that really well. It's easier to believe you're on a planet when your entire surroundings look like that planet. Like green screen, blue screen's great, but it can only go so far. And I think if you watch The Mandalorian, you wouldn't even be able to tell because it's happening all live on set. You're getting the true light refraction, I think, which is a big thing for making stuff seem real to the human eye. If you look at his shiny helmet and you can see every detailed reflection from like shadows and stuff, it looks so much real.
If there's like screens there with all the images of the world on, and then that's naturally reflecting shadows on his helmet, that's probably going to look better than just straight up CGI. There'll be CGI touch-ups to it.
Oh yeah,
but then it's probably easier on the editors. It's just one of them. It's like, well, this just seems to be a smarter way of doing things.
Yeah, because I know usually they go into sets and they get like the big giant silver ball sphere and they record it to get like all the light zones and stuff. And the video games do the same thing. We've seen a lot with ray tracing is essentially the same thing. It's using refracted light to make it seem more natural.
I think both like movies and TV shows and video games on the other side of it have kind of borrowing more and more ideas and technologies and techniques from each other, especially games, as more cinematic experiences go by for things like, well, yeah, my mind goes straight to Uncharted because I've seen a load of like behind the scenes Uncharted stuff where like the actors are not just voice actors, they're full actors acting out the scenes, and then that's being recorded and then transitioned into the game. Where the old traditional thing would be just like you just generate it all and the actors would just dub over.
Yeah, completely.
And that's how you get a bit more believability in the way characters move and stuff. So it's all come from film into the video game space.
Yeah,
but
crazy.
Yeah, it's just that this is just another example of the cross-pollination between them. And I think largely it's probably for the betterment of both industries.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah. You never know with these sort of deals.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the way they're all powered is it's not like Unity buying this is going to mean Epic are closing down Unreal Engine and stuff. There's space for all of these pies to live, and I think again competition's healthy, and then pushing each other to invest more and create better. It's just better for the consumer.
There is a potential downside I can see of this sort of move, where it entrenches like the more powerful companies like Unity and Epic, as they have a lot more assets, a lot more financial power, and that can squeeze out some of the smaller players in the market. That has the potential to do that, as more and more, instead, like a lot of developers now, instead of making their own engines, will just use Unity, or will just use Epic, or Frostbite, or whatever. So that could potentially be a downside, but as long as I get good games.
Well, exactly. It's more money being pumped into the things that we love and care about. So we'll see how that one rolls down. I think I read some interesting stuff. Does Unity run on Linux?
Possibly.
I feel like I read an article or a short piece which was saying about Unity and Linux are more hand in hand, and it's trying to break that everything running on Windows necessarily. But I'm not that techie clued up to really understand what that means for people. I saw somewhere someone saying it's great for Stadia because the Linux partnership deal and Unity and Linux. I don't know, but we won't.
A quick Google search, I found an article from the Unity blog in 2019 announcing the Unity editor for Linux.
All right, yeah, we won't go too much.
So you can code directly in Unity on a Linux platform.
Interesting. Well, next up then, Richie, as we move away back to video games for the most part, Far Cry 6 will be getting its DLC finally announced. I finished the game, of course, and they announced the DLC. I know the achievements have appeared in the game already. You can read through them. And as previously announced, Far Cry 6's post-launch content will cast players as some of the series' most famous villains, specifically starting off with Far Cry 6's Vas Montenegro, Far Cry 4's Pagan Min, and Far Cry 5's Joseph Seed, across 3 roguelite-inspired episodes. Next week sees Vas Insanity, unsurprisingly, brings back him, voiced by the same actor, as a playable character, and starting with nothing more than a pistol to defend himself, players will need to find new weapons, unlock power-ups, and become stronger and progress deeper into the depths of Vas's psyche. Ubisoft says Vas's blend of intense action and storytelling will offer a unique opportunity to better understand his past, personal demons, and motivations as well. Following on from that, there's also episodes 2 and 3 titled Pagan and Joseph, Control and Collapse, respectively, And in January and March next year, additional DLC will come up with crossover missions featuring Rambo, Stranger Things, and Danny Trejo for some random reason. While Ubisoft has yet to offer any details to do with these conclusions, of course, we reported it last week that the Danny Trejo stuff was already accidentally leaked in the game months early ahead of it. And I almost went to play it, but then I thought it was going to break my achievement trophy list, so I didn't. But it's coming soon. Go check it out. I'm very intrigued to know what it's about, because a lot of the achievements look as though it's like a points-based system. So it says like get 20,000 points in Vass's mind, get this, and I'm thinking, please don't make it like a score-based DLC. Like, just give me another story DLC with these characters, rather than making me do like arcade style, kill so many villains and get so many points. Like, I'd rather just focus on what makes Far Cry good. But not long to wait, and as a side story to that, I mentioned it at the top of the show, Far Cry 7 is going to be rumoured to be a live service game similar to the Assassin's Creed Infinity story we reported on a little while back as well. So Far Cry boss Dan Hare, who was the franchise executive producer for the last decade, is actually leaving Ubisoft. Amid reports that the next series will adopt a live service approach similar to Assassin's Creed Infinity. So, Richie, we don't know much about this. Of course, Far Cry 7 is going to be a long ways off. And this guy who's just left has been a producer on it since 2011 when Far Cry 6 was out. For the next Far Cry game, as a live service, what do you think this means for Far Cry exactly? I know you've not played the most of Far Cry, but you know what it's about. How would this look as a live service? We theorise on Assassin's Creed Infinity, of course.
Yeah, we theorised with Assassin's Creed Infinity that you almost like have a hub where you can go, like probably set in the modern world, where you could use the Animus to go into different areas, different locations, and that's how they could keep adding new story-based content. So while it also being a live service game, I'm not quite sure how you do that with Far Cry, because each game is very, very discrete. This is the character, this is the setting, here's the story, and then you're out. So I'm not sure what that could be. It's because I am right in saying in every Far Cry you're playing as a different character. Yeah,
it's usually until this particular recent release 6, you were a silent protagonist for the most part. Like, you might have said one or two words, but you're essentially it's usually the villain is why they're the main characters, because they're the kind of the power that drives the whole story along, whereas you're just a silent protagonist.
I suppose if it's the silent protagonist stuff, what they could do is probably have a character creator in there, so you can just play your character and drop into the world, and they could just keep adding new content, new areas, and that sort of thing. Yeah. Season passes. It's hard to know. I think there's a lot of ways it could go, and it's really, I mean, who knows how they're going to go with it.
Because gaming's in such a weird place now, where we've got obviously nostalgia, remakes, remasters, like games as a service that are just like, they just don't end. They just keep continuing. We've seen the success with like Destiny 2 and such, to a point where I wouldn't begrudge them doing like a Far Cry universe where you can actually jump between the map of 5 and the map of 6, and they're just like different, like they're all take place on an island usually, or like a mountain. It's like you're all blocked off. So if you just have like a Far Cry hub world, and then you just parachute into the Himalayas or Yara or Hope County or one of those things, and you just have it, just basically boots you into the Far Cry 5 game or 6 game or whatever. And there is some kind of like loose narrative thread, I guess, you need throughout it. But if you're a silent character, then it wouldn't really make a difference. But I think Ubisoft are just really, really trying to lean into, we have all these assets, we've got this legacy, we've got these games. Can we just like utilize them and just let people go back and enjoy the nostalgia, and we can have like a Blood Dragon season and stuff like that? And I can see where they're approaching it from, but I just can't.
I think they're leaning too heavily into it. Like, I think we've already seen with, what was it, Tom Clancy? Was it
which one?
Was it Breakpoint? The sequel to Breakpoint?
The new one. So we've got Division Heartlands. Yes. We've got.
It wasn't Heartlands. It was definitely the Breakpoint stuff.
Oh, I can't remember it now. Is it Hardline? Hardline?
Hardline. Yeah.
Hardline.
Yeah, I think it was Hardline. We saw how that was kind of received quite poorly from that particular fan base. So if they're not careful, they could do the same thing with Far Cry and Assassin's Creed to their own detriment. So like these franchises sell a lot, they make a lot of money. By forcing them into a live service situation, sometimes they can feel like they're just reaching a bit too far, being a little too greedy, potentially. It really depends how it comes out, because it could work really, really well, or it could just come off as a cheap cash grab.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're playing with fire a bit here, Ubisoft, like doing it in too many franchises at the similar time.
Yeah, if you did one every 5-6 years.
I'd almost like to see this be a Far Cry spin-off as a live service game, and then potentially maybe that's it. Okay, this is actually going to be Far Cry 7 now. Similar to how if you look at how Grand Theft Auto 5 has worked, he's a single player game, we're adding a multiplayer game. Oh, this took off, let's keep supporting it.
Yeah.
Because if you do it that way, you're not going to annoy your fans, to be honest, because it just worked. Where if at this launch of Grand Theft Auto 5 they went, this is going to be an online only persistent world, it's going to be game as a service, there would have been a lot of controversy over that decision.
Yeah, it's an interesting like chicken and the egg scenario for a lot of these developers.
Yeah.
Obviously they're trying to plan for the future of their companies. They're also trying to give the audience what they want, but with the whole free to play battle royale games as a service, as that's evolving over time, I think a lot of these developers and publishers are kind of just like, they're in a bit of an odd limbo place where they don't know what basket to put their eggs in.
It's balancing what's right for the company and their shareholders and what is that their audience want. And when I say audience want, I mean what their audience actually want, and not just what they say they want. Because in gaming, we know that them two are not always the same thing. Because we've seen games, don't have one on the top of my head, but we've known games come out that have been massively fans behind it. We need this game, and then no one bought it.
Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge, yeah, there you go.
That was one that everyone shouted at EA, give us another Mirror's Edge, give us another one, and they did, and no one bought it.
Yeah. So it's a hard, difficult situation, but I think going live service on a load of franchises that are well known and respected for being single player titles predominantly. I know Far Cry's got like co-op stuff in there, but it's basically a single player game that you could play with someone else.
Yeah.
That, I think, if they're not careful, that really could go down poorly.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent to this because I like Assassin's Creed, I like Far Cry, I don't love either of them.
Yeah, so the change wouldn't rub me up the wrong way too much.
No, because if a new Assassin's Creed comes out and I don't like the look of it, I just won't buy it.
Which isn't what they want.
I'm not a die-hard Assassin's Creed. I'm not looking at every single game. I'm going to play every single game regardless of whether I like it. That's not me with Ubisoft. Full stop. To be honest,
it is an interesting one because Far Cry is in this odd position where it's a first-person shooter, but it's story. Like, how many first-person shooters other than like Wolfenstein? I can't think of any other IP that has its actual story. Everything's online multiplayer.
I think Halo is. Halo's known for story stuff. Yeah. Obviously, it's also Halo's well known for its multiplayer, but that was kind of at the start of the Xbox and online gaming and stuff. So that's probably why that took off in such a big way.
It is interesting conversation because you think
Call of Duty used to be known for its story, but true, that kind of
flipped. It flipped like early, late 2010s, didn't it? But Far Cry, like, it's an interesting one. Like, they have the island, they have all the weapons, the cars, the parachutes, the glide suits, like everything's there for it to be like a battle royale or a shooter multiplayer. Like, drop 50 people onto the map and let them fight it out and survive over the course of a full day or something. So I can see how Ubisoft are like looking at all their assets and their studios and thinking like, we're missing a trick, and we've seen them do with like Hyperscape. They've tried that. We've got X-Defiant coming up. It was in fact Tom Clancy's Frontline, not Hardline, that we were thinking of. That got the backlash. And yeah, they're in just a very weird place where they are trying to juggle fan expectations and shareholders and make money still at the end of the day. But
I worry they're going to get the balance wrong though. That's my worry at the moment.
It's easy to get it wrong than right. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's why I almost feel like instead of doing like an Assassin's Creed, a new game like every 2 years, which seems to be the cycle at the moment, make it every 3 years or even every 4 years, but also have the interim time to have a spin-off where you can be a bit more experimental.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
With the format, have it like in it like, yeah, this is a spin-off game, therefore any expectations what of Assassin's Creed game are kind of pushed out the window, so you're not actually souring that franchise for the diehard fans, but you also get to make like the experimental game, take it in a different direction, and if it takes off, then it takes off.
Yeah, well, we thought that a little bit with what we thought Black Flag and Skull and Bones was going to be, and then it just took them that long. It's kind of like, yeah, shit, I'll get off the pot with that.
No one knows what Skull and Bones is going to be.
They don't, but you're right. Like Black Flag was Assassin's Creed, and everyone's saying, "Oh, that was such a fun game. Just give us a pirate game, and just give us like a little
Pirates
spin-off."
Creed.
Yeah.
It writes itself.
And then they didn't, and here we are, like nearly a decade on from Black Flag, and we've still not seen Skull and Bones. So it's like, it is like what goes on behind the scenes. We don't really know. Ubisoft have got their own problems with other things right now, and like leadership being moved around, people leaving and stuff. So even I think Montreal, I think they've just increased their wages for lead designers because people are leaving to go to other studios with better perks. So again, it's like the whole world right now with recruitment and stuff, and people are changing jobs, and they've had these lockdown epiphanies that have made people look elsewhere. And
there is some savoury stuff about Ubisoft's working culture as well, but we'll not get into that.
Definitely not. But let's leave the story where it is. We'll hear much more about Far Cry 7 in the years to come, no doubt. But for now, enjoy Far Cry 6, folks. Go delve in to Yara with Anton Castillo, Danny, and the crew. Right. Final stories for the week, Richie, as we wrap up the show. We covered the little indie title Soul Passage, which is a Kickstarter Metroidvania-inspired game. Over on Twitter, you can see them at Soul Passage Game. It does look as though they have confirmed the game will be coming to Stadia. So off the back of this week's Wavetale post, I saw them tweet out a couple of times saying that the game will be coming to Stadia. It'll be, I think they said first on Stadia, but with this title, I've got an air of caution when you look at their Twitter account and the way they respond. Everything they're saying is almost like too good to be true. And sometimes I'm wary that like how active the Twitter account is. It's replying to everyone, it's telling everyone. And I know they're trying to grow their audience base, but I don't know. It's like,
I think this game very much has potential. I'm always skeptical of any Kickstarter, any crowdsourcing, crowdfunding sort of stuff, because I sometimes think if your game's good enough or your product's good enough, why aren't you able to get
like a proper publisher or something?
Yeah.
Like why aren't
I mean, sometimes it might.
Coming in?
Sometimes it might just be a case of you're making a decision because if you give, I don't know, let's say you took this to EA or Ubisoft, their cut might be higher than you'd like, or you might have to give them the actual rights to the franchise rather than keep. So it could be for them decisions, but I don't know. It's kind of like I'll keep an eye on it, how it's going, and when it comes out, it comes out.
There is an interview right now on Stadia Source where they spoke in depth a little bit about with the lead artist of the game. They went into a little bit of depth about what the game's about, introduce the features, what makes it unique, the development behind it. Obviously, it is a Kickstarter game. So what are the tiers, rewards and stuff for the Kickstarter? So if you are interested in it, you do want to see the Stadia. But off the back of Wavetale, it looked like they were very keen. They basically tweeted confirming it. But this is where I don't know if it's just the Twitter account getting carried away, because it is a Kickstarter. They might not have a professional social media manager. And just something like, it seems too good to be, it's too quick to have happened so fast. But fingers crossed, more games the better, and certainly one we'll keep our eyes on as well. So Soul Passage Game, go check it out if you wish to. And then wrapping up our stories for the week, Richie, we got some interesting concept art from Rocksteady this week. As we know, Arkham Knight is available to play on Stadia's tech, just not on Stadia Direct. We haven't heard anything more about that story just yet. Pardon me. But before Rocksteady and Warner Brothers Montreal, I should say, in fact, moved on to Arkham Origins and such, they did tease that there was going to be a follow-up, which is now Gotham Knights, which is not part of Gotham canon. It was called Project Sabbath, and it was a Damian Wayne focused Batman game, which I think is that his dad? No, is that his dad?
It's his son, I think.
His son. I'm not
I think so.
My Batman. No. I thought it was his dad. I know there's different like timelines where like Damian Wayne actually has all the Batman tech and stuff, and Bruce inherits it, and there's so many Batman storylines now. He's been going for like so long.
Damian Wayne is the child of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul.
Ooh, spicy.
At least in what this Batman.fandom.com wiki is saying.
Okie dokie. So either way, we've seen some images that have been teased out about the Arkham game. It's most likely going to be a sequel to Arkham Knight, but we don't know for sure. But essentially, yeah, if you head over to, Eurogamer is the article I'm reading from. But we know Arkham Knight, for those who played it, finished on a bit of a cliffhanger. So who knows? I think it's an interesting tale to see where Rocksteady's stories are going to go with Gotham Knights and Suicide Killer Justice League. We won't know about that until next year. I'm still hopeful these games are coming to the platform, Richie, especially now we've got Arkham Knight running on the tech. Like I've got to believe Warner Brothers are behind the scenes now trying to just get everything finished and polished up. And if they've ported Arkham Knight in some way, shape or form in line with Stadia, and I've got to hope that Google are having conversations with Warner Brothers saying, we need big titles for next year, and these are arguably going to be two of the biggest. Can we get them on the platform? I don't want to get to this time next summer, or this winter I should say, and we look back and go, oh, what are the Game of the Year candidates? And we didn't have these two. So...
yeah, I mean, they've got to bring them, in my opinion. I know a lot of people going, oh, the old games don't need to bring them. But if the game's running on the tech, I can't see a good reason for why Stadia wouldn't want to give their audience them games. These are fantastic games that will very much pad out the library in a nice way.
Yeah. And again, I can't believe Google or Warner Brothers have that conversation where they say, or Google say to Warner Brothers, now you've had your little free trial thing through AT&T or whatever, could we put the game on Stadia? And Warner Brothers go, no. Because surely the answer is why? Like, it's just, the game's already done. We'll just change it to our storefront and you get money. Like, that's surely that all needs to be done. Stadia do everything their server side. The game already runs. Just change the storefront, change the skin out to Stadia, and you make money, Warner Brothers. Yeah. Might not be much, but it's money.
Yeah.
And it's another way for people to play your Rocksteady games in preparation for the new entries in 2022.
And crucially, the AAA titles that aren't Ubisoft.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy, whatever that is, and these two Arkham games, they've got to come to the platform. But if we're here next year, Richie, for episode 152 or whatever we end up being up to, I don't want to look back at 2022 and think, well, it's another missed opportunity. So time will tell with that one. But folks, that brings us to an end for episode 112 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Thank you for your time listening, watching, viewing, however you consume our content. We do love and appreciate all of your time and efforts out there too. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we will be streaming for Stadia's birthday this upcoming Friday the 19th in celebration of 2 whole years on the market, in the public, playing games out there in the cloud. We've enjoyed our time with it. We'll celebrate. We might even have cake, Richie. You might even have cake.
If you're listening, Google, you do owe me cake.
Actually, speaking of cake, in this last week, or the last fortnight, I guess, I've started to really become a big fan of carrot cake. Now, where do you sit on carrot cake?
I like carrot cake. I like carrot cake. I never used that as a kid, but I think it's because carrot
right?
Icky. But carrot cake's nice.
So yeah, I thought the same thing for years. Like as a child, I was like, no, why would I want something that's got a vegetable inside it? Don't be silly. There's like
25 a day.
Yeah, there's like chocolate cake and everything like that to have instead. But then as I've got older, I actually carrot cake with walnuts on top. I've had it twice now in the last week, and I really like it. Really like it.
Yeah, I do. I like it.
So we might have some carrot cake or birthday cake.
What are your thoughts on cheesecake? Because it's not really cake.
I mean, I love cheesecake as well.
I love cheesecake, but they need to rename it. It's not a cake.
Cream cake?
It doesn't have any.
Not cream cake, so it doesn't work.
But no, the problem's not the cheese bit. It's because it is cheese. It's the cake bit.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There's no cake in it.
That is true. We'll save this for a cake bash stream one time. We'll save this conversation. But thank you, everyone out there. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, support myself, Richie, and Tom a little bit more, you can hit join right now below on the YouTube link and give us a little bit more support. We don't hold it against you. We don't hold any content back from you. In fact. It's available.
I hold it against people. If you don't like the video, I hold it against you.
Don't listen to him, folks. Don't listen to him. Listen to me. You can click join below. 99p gets you badges, stickers, little emojis next to your name. But more importantly, you get access to Sounds of Stadia, formerly known SideQuest, up to 6 days early. Richie, what are we talking about this week?
We're ranking Stadia's exclusive titles because we've just had another one to the list.
We have. We now are up to 8 titles that are exclusive currently still to the platform as far as we're aware. We're going to go rank, review, talk and discuss about them as part of SideQuest, and you can get it today, Sunday, the time of recording. If you're a member, go check it out. We do appreciate it.
We're recording this on a Saturday. You'll get it tomorrow.
Don't tell the people. You behind the scenes secrets you're letting loose. No cake for you. Either way, folks, have a great week in gaming. My name's been Chris, and you can find me at CyberChris2077.
Chris has been mean to me this episode, and you can find me at RichieC89.
Tom's still away looking after his family and his baby at Adaxis LP. We've been Hades Cloud Games, and remember to play wherever makes you the happiest. Have a great week, everyone. Catch you on the other side. Goodbye.
I want some cake now.